Not talking to you yet, so I guess I'll babble about astronomical phenomena that we probably don't even have time to talk about. There we go, because it's doing the thing. Go for it, D. Do that thing you do.
Well, go on, everybody. This show is for educational and entertainment purposes only. You must be 21 and over to be here. If not, you have to leave. Back to you, Freemy.
That's the way he said it, ladies and gentlemen. The truth is in the statement. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, I'm trying to say that D is right. You have to be an adult to watch this show, ladies and gentlemen. What that constitutes where you are, I couldn't possibly know. Where I am, you have to be over 21. If you have to be a different age, for example, or if you have to be, I don't know, of sound mind and body or some shit, I don't even know. But whatever your local rules are, please, folks, do follow them. Cheers, Jones and Grow, first in the chat there. Ladies and gerbils, if you are an adult, you are more than welcome to hang with us. But if you are a child of any kind, you are encouraged warmly to go watch beach volleyball, or I don't even know, what could we think of? Feather tying. Perhaps you'll learn how to tie feathers into cool articles of clothing, dresses, headdresses, even. Careful there because it's easy to make fun of natives when you do that accidentally. But perhaps you'd like to take up another arts and crafts element. I saw a Chinese woman doing incredible wire sculpture the other day. Almost certainly not age restricted. Ladies and gentlemen, go watch that fascinating Chinese craftswoman. There's probably more than just one, honestly, but the one that I saw had like millions of followers, so there's probably that one. Go do that. Go watch Sesame Street. Go watch 321 Contact. I don't know if they're still around, but they were when I was a kid. Perhaps go watch reruns of 321 Contact. Go watch something else if you're a kid, in other words. If, on the other hand, like I said, you're an adult, please sit back, ladies and gerbils, twist something nice up and light it on fire, so to speak. I'm going to be twisting up my first joint of the day, actually. I just made a kind of a late sandwich. I mean, it's not really a late sandwich, it is noon, but I meant to make it before the show, and I really made it basically as the show started. I was kind of running a little bit low or late. So munched on half of the sandwich, but I haven't had a joint yet. So I'm gonna twist up a joint here in the near future. It's probably going to be some of this larvae trash that I still have. I have a couple of jars of halfway decent wheat that I'm saving for when things get really bleak. But at the moment, I'm trying to go through all the rest of my fucking swag so I don't completely run out of weed. You guys know how it is. Some of you, I'm sure some of you have always been bathing in acres of outdoor weed. That happens too, of course. But unfortunately for me, I don't have acres of outdoor weed to play with. So my plants last year, they finished. Thankfully, they all finished. It was a nail biter on some level. If they were if they were even going to finish. I don't know if you guys remember me talking about all the fucking problems and everything. So anyway, I'm glad I still have weed, but I'm fucking running out. Anyway, oh look at that, North Star's hopping on. What's new with you, D? Go for it, buddy.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on, chat? Hope everyone's having a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Three, two, one. Let's go. Um, I'm smoking on some pre-rolls, and I got some nice half still from Mr. Gifter. I hope everyone's having a great night. Cheers or
Yeah,
day
man. Cheers, buddy. Nice seeing you, North Star. What's going on?
in North Star.
Got to roll up a joint. How you guys doing?
That's a good timing. That's a good timing. I should start twisting mine up here too. Oh, doing all right. Just kind of trying to survive all the crazy news and stuff, but I think that's probably all of us. So, yeah, just getting by. Oh, there was a really funny story. I was sitting outside smoking a little mini cigar, and I was reading a story that would I think fascinate Captain 420 and a few other ones that I saw on Reddit. So let's see if he hops on here in a bit. What was this story that I saved? Oh my God. First cabinet meeting of the second Trump administration, and Donald Trump, or what's his face? Trump is hunched over, and Elon Musk is standing talking. That's how everything is supposed to be. Don't look
I
behind the
watched it. It
curtain.
looks pretty normal to me. I don't
Did it? All right.
know. Oh yeah.
It just to me here. I'll show you the picture that I was talking about because you guys probably think I'm being an asshole. Maybe I am being an asshole for all I know.
I watched. I
Uh,
honestly watched this. I am so thankful that fucking Biden is gone. Oh my god.
really? Well, I don't know.
Well,
This just seems weird to me.
literally,
That
he's
fucking
fucking dementia.
Kennedy.
Total dementia. The guy had
Uh,
no clue what's going on.
say it again.
The guy
Say it
had
again.
dementia so
Oh,
bad.
Biden did? I disagree. I don't think he
Yeah,
did. I think he was definitely
totally
too
out of
old
it.
for the office, but I really don't think he seemed to he
That's not
stutters.
age.
So
Nothing
his
to do with age. His age was not the problem at all. It was just he was not there.
I disagree. I think he was there, but we're splitting hairs, because basically, why do we need like an 80-year-old president? I mean, seriously, why do we need an 80-year-old president?
Competency.
Well, and then again, I don't know. I guess that's one of those things I was talking about yesterday, how we have a difficult situation in our country right now where I think well-meaning people live in two different realities. And unfortunately, until those realities in some way coincide again, I don't think we can have discussions. Like, for example, right now, there's no reason for me to, I mean, we're not arguing, right? But like, how do I put this? There's no reason for me to belabor the point because I don't think you're going to agree with me. Likewise, I don't think there's a reason for you to belabor the point because I don't think you're going to disagree with me because I think in a small sense, we live in slightly different realities on this political spectrum. And I genuinely don't know how that's going to resolve itself because it seems to me that in a democracy, which presumably we still are in, you have to be able to talk to the other side. So I'm kind of talking out loud right now. I don't know how this is all going to end up, but let me see. Where's that fucking story that I was trying to find? By the way, Captain, if you're listening, hop on, buddy. Yeah, so North Star will have a different take on this, but it was a very interesting story about J.D. Vance, and he said something that got rebuked by the Pope. So I thought that would be kind of a funny comment for Captain 420 and us to talk about, but we'll see if he hops on here. Cheers, anybody in the chat, by the way, folks. We don't have too many folks in the chat. We had Jones N2 Grow. He's first in the chat, and he's got some fun comments here. He says, some really nice billiards happening now and in the recent past. Got some peach pure sativa CBD brownies in the oven. Holy cannoli moly. And then Jones N2 Grow. Biden had a bad TV night after that long-ass trip and looked bad, but that doesn't make an incompetent president. Yeah, I agree. He had a lifelong stutter and everything else. He basically trips over every single comment he's ever made. And he has a long habit of basically saying silly, weird shit. So Biden's Biden, basically. But I don't think he was getting demented. But again, I'm not going to sit here and argue that he was perfectly up for the job because I genuinely don't think that someone that old is capable, really, of being president. I mean, that goes for Bernie, too. People still love Bernie and everything. Like, I wouldn't want Bernie in charge. Like, these are folks, an actor that I really like, John Lithgow. He was on Third Rock from the Sun. Do you guys remember that show years ago? Anyway, cool guy. He's gotten up there in age. He's apparently already 79. He's going to be the new Dumbledore, evidently, in Harry Potter, which I'm probably not going to watch one episode of, but still fun, I guess, that they're making another Harry Potter show or something. And he's saying that this is going to be like the last, what's the word for it? Last chapter of his life or something. Anyway, how did I get on that? I don't know. It's fine if you're Dumbledore, but I'm just like, dude, if you're running a country, I think it's a little bit too much stuff involved. But I don't know. We'll change the subject here, folks. Hop on, join the conversation. We'd love to hear from you. Normally, how these shows work. You know what? I'll introduce the show just like I've been introducing the other show, just so that everyone knows what we're about. So this is High Noon Safety Meeting. High Noon Safety Meeting. I think I said High Noon. High Noon Safety Meeting. We're not trying to make the spice flow. But ladies and gentlemen, this is High Noon Safety Meeting. We'd love to hear from you. It's a conversational show. Excuse me, conversational show where I apparently burp all the time, where you're more than welcome to say hello in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. If you can visualize the panel as basically a virtual cannabis pub, oftentimes for High Noon, we don't get quite as many people on here, so I guess maybe a cannabis cafe or something. But these shows have always meant to be essentially a public cafe or pub environment where you can stop in after work or before work or whatever and discuss the issues that matter to you, talk about, fun stuff about your grow, just talk about shop, basically, like a lot of folks would in their local pub. Most of us don't have a local pub that we could hang out in, especially with cannabis, and doubly, triply so, we definitely don't have an international pub where you can meet all your friends. Yesterday we had people saying hello from not only Australia, but South Africa. Where else did we get yesterday, D? We had a couple new countries, actually. We had one in Eastern Europe that said hello, I want to say. I won't swear to that. Not Ukraine or something, but someone, yeah, we get worldwide viewers. So, folks, visualize this as a virtual cannabis cafe that you're actually welcome to join. There are extremely simple rules that you need to abide by. You'll be immediately banned if you don't. D, feel free to spin those up. Ladies and gentlemen, no rush, honestly. Ladies and gentlemen, simply stated, don't be a dick. Don't show your dick. And don't be a fucking lunatic. I think most people understand that pretty easily and don't even have to be told. But every once in a while, someone has to be told. Do not fucking show your wiener. Don't be a wiener. And don't be a fucking weirdo dipshit. Honestly, we just don't need it. banned someone yesterday who had been
Yeah.
actually a fun addition to the show. I don't feel a tiny bit bad about it because the person acted out of pocket. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care who you are. If you act out of pocket, you might catch a ban right away. So by this point, you already should know the rules. If you start calling anyone on the panel a fuckwit or an idiot or anything else, insulting us, you're gone. There's basically no warning. I've told you guys enough times before. First of all, you should know better. You should honestly know better that someone with the power to remove you is probably not someone you should call a fuckwit or an idiot or anything else. So really, basically, this is your only warning, essentially, to not be a jerk off. You're more than welcome to continue in the conversation. You're more than welcome to disagree with us. You can disagree with us vociferously. You can provide evidence why we're all wrong, da 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 da. But act like a civilized human being, ladies and gentlemen. We come on the panel here. We take the time out of our day to enjoy each other's company, but also to kind of, most of us are not public speakers, so most of us basically don't really like to be in front of an audience. So, ladies and gentlemen, we don't tolerate any attacks on the panel whatsoever. If you'd like a legitimate criticism, hey, fine, but bring it. If someone is
I got a good
saying
criticism.
something
When
wrong
it
or
comes
whatever,
down to
go ahead, Mr.
people calling people's names, making fun, that's just called unintelligence, I
That's it.
think.
That is. If you're resorting, it's
Hey,
an
look,
ad
anything better
hominem.
than that, then keep your mouth shut.
It is literally in Latin, it's called an ad hominem argument, basically, against the man, essentially. You're not arguing their point, you're essentially shooting the messenger. What do they always say? Don't shoot the messenger. It's not the message that you're attacking because you've lost the power to do so. You essentially are starting to attack the messenger because you have no other abilities. When you read between the lines, you're a fucking idiot. That's what it is. You nailed it, North Star. So, folks, when you resort to personal attacks on people, you've lost the argument. So that's another reason why goodbye. We don't need you if you basically have already lost the argument and are just essentially talking shit about people. Excuse me. Cheers, Pip Jam. Pip Jam is saying worldwide, our other illustrious overseas moderator. Good to see you, buddy. Pip Jam, I thought about you last couple of days. I've been watching, I don't know if you know the show Slow Horses on Apple TV with Gary Oldman and Kristen Scott Thomas, a few other people that you guys probably know a little bit better over there than we do here. Anyway, great show. It's a spy show basically about this kind of reject office at MI5 called Slough House. And a slough is like a canal. So like even the name is just like shithole house basically. That's where they put the so-called slow horses, basically all the agents that fucked up and stuff. Anyway, but it's a great fucking show. Anyway, a couple times Gary Oldman meets with Kristen Scott Thomas, who's nominally his boss, but they fucking hate each other. And he's absolutely goddamn hilarious. He farts tactically, like he's a tactical farter. It's just one of the best parts of the show. Anyway, like he's tactically disgusting to like repulse his opponent. It's actually just ingenious. Anyway, the part that I thought of you was there was a section they had some canal boats they were meeting, and I was like, how funny would it be if Pip Jam oversees or like looks at these MI5 agents having their secret meetings or something? You got to let us know one of these days if you've seen fucking KGB or some shit talking on the what is it, the bank of the Thames or whatever. Anyway, Bud Kilowatt says John Lithgow. Look at that small world. I've always been playing 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon for I don't know how many years. You know how many? If you guys don't know this, because it's a fucking ancient game. How many people does it take before you know Kevin Bacon? So in other words, let's say your stepbrother was his manager or something. Well, then you're like basically 1 or 2 degrees. I can't remember exactly what the rules are. I've forgotten them. Away from Kevin Bacon. But long story short, Bud Kilowatt now has made us all 1 degree away from John Lithgow, 2 degrees, I guess, away from John Lithgow, because we know Bud Kilowatt and he knows John Lithgow, and or no, he knows his mom, and his mom knows John Lithgow. So three degrees of Kevin Bacon away from John Lithgow. He says John Lithgow was my mom's favorite client. He would send the hugest basket on Christmas for her birthday. Those baskets were killer, filled with all the best stuff. I've heard he's a really nice guy. He was like a theater nerd and stuff. Anyway, he's apparently a really cool guy. There's a lot of people in Hollywood that are just jerk off jackasses that if you threw them into the sun, it would pollute the sun. Honestly, their gases would pollute the sun when they pop in there. But there's a lot of people in LA who are really delightful, wonderful people too, of course. Like any industry, same thing with cannabis. There's some people who I would not piss on if they were on fire. And yeah, there's some people in cannabis who are wonderful, wonderful, charming people. But yeah, folks, hop on here. Small Tubes, J5, good to see you, folks. Abolish Farmer, good to see you, buddy. North Star, what's new with you? We haven't seen you in a bit.
Well, getting ready for spring here. Got weather's breaking out nice. It's like 60 and sunny today. I got a greenhouse to recover, so I'm getting ready to go out there. I've been cutting some clones, trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my greenhouses this year. It always seems though that I grow too much or not enough, never the right amount. So this past year I grew too much. Now I have a whole. This is just for myself and my friends and family. It's like the year before I was bone dry and bud coming into February. I have my little bit of indoor tester stuff, and everyone's like, "Dude, you got something for me?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm sorry, I'm totally out. I'll play for you next year." So this past year I blew out extra greenhouses, did extra run, and now I have like 9 extra fucking pounds sitting around that I normally have I normally have like a pound and a half right now or so. So I'm like, oh fucking A.
That's nice.
Kind of make some more butter or something. But anyway, so I'm gonna do a little less this year and do a little more of I want to do a seed hunt in the greenhouses instead of doing a second run this year, which I did last year. I did 2 big runs with extra smaller greenhouse. I'm going to do the second run's going to all just be from seed and just do a whole big seed hunt. Obviously the stuff I like the most, I'll probably trim most of the stuff. I'm like, it's not bad. I'll trim some tops, and probably the rest of it all just going to hash. My main concern with growing enough outdoor for myself is having lots of hash for the year. So I don't want to just leave my greenhouses empty because I'll have plenty of bud, but I'll run out of hash more than likely. So I don't want to do that either. So I love having lots of hash. I'll probably use a lot of the seed run stuff for just a bunch of hash mixes.
Do you predominantly, I guess I've never asked you, do you predominantly just do you just wash the hash in bubble bags or something and just basically keep it as what am I looking for? Headies, or do you press them, or what do you do? I never asked you, I think.
Oh, I freeze all my trim and stuff. So I have a couple freezers I'll fill up. So I like my hash fresh frozen. I make, pull it through bubble bags, wash it. I generally pull the the 45 through 70 bags, or 72 bag, or whatever the heck bag is. I pull that as one pool, and I pull the very bottom bag by itself. The bottom bag goes towards edibles. Then I have the work bag. Then I pull a 160 bag. I pull that out first. That goes towards edibles. And then everything from the 90 and 120 get pulled together, which is really the best. Seems to be the best melt grade right there. Freeze dry it, and then it goes just as little patties. I have little airtight containers that are stacked up full of little patties that I break off pieces of, and pretty much once I eat dinner, I don't smoke after that. All I smoke is hash after dinner.
Is there any reason for that?
If it's just I like to smoke hash. If I didn't give myself a time when I couldn't smoke hash until, I'd probably smoke hash all day and not get done.
How funny.
So I'm like, all right, I don't smoke hash until after dinner time. After that, it's like smoke hash, melt into the couch.
So hash is that's your real reward for the day, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. It's like I made it through the day. Now it's time to, smoke 4 or 5 fucking bowls full of hash.
That's
and
fun.
just
That's
float
fun.
around my house the rest of the evening.
Right?
Then like looking forward to like a bowl of ice cream or something to get me all excited, kind of deal. Just simple things.
Dude, this is so pleasant.
Chocolate brownies, like a little extra treat or something. Just the simple things like that makes life go around.
What else? I don't know. I'm just always so fascinated by this, and I feel like people don't appreciate how magical this is. What else could you realistically produce at such a high level? Like realistically, you're probably producing at a world-class level because, of course, you're a geneticist. Basically, you make the genetics yourself. You've been doing hash for a long time. So realistically, you're probably making hash at a pretty worldwide level. Where else could you do that? You couldn't do that with whiskey. You'd have to have, I guess you could, but first of all, it would be illegal to have a whole huge still at your house. You're, I guess in some cases allowed to have small stills, but if you really wanted to have an actual whiskey experience with the aged barrels and everything else, you'd have to have a full-on distillery, basically, with a bunch of aged barrels. You'd have to have 10-year-old whiskey and all this shit. It would take you fucking ages to basically accomplish that.
I have a store-bought still. I have a store-bought still. It's a 6-gallon still. Nice. Oh yeah, it's pretty nice. I use it for RSO so I can recapture my ethanol. I'm buying 200 proof ethanol. Well, I haven't done it like 3 years now. I buy the 200 proof. It's not that expensive. We got to pay all this fucking tax on it. The tax is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I want to get all of that back. So I reclaim a bunch of it. So I get multiple runs out of that 5-gallon jug of ethanol. Otherwise, it costs you so much more. But the still came with like recipes to how make knockoff Baileys, make knockoff or different brands like Seagram's, how make different recipes and make knockoff stuff. And then they actually sell little packets of flavoring stuff to mimic, Bacardi and different like flavored rums and different things you want to make. There's a big list of things though.
There's a dude I follow on YouTube. I can't remember when I subscribed to him, but yeah, that's his whole business model. Is he basically was just like a hobby distiller, and then people were like, "Oh, you should fucking sell that." And so little by little, he just basically for like 10 years now, he just basically sells distilling equipment, presumably for kind of the home whiskey makers and stuff. I guess what I was saying is maybe not as true as what I was saying. Like you say, it's a little bit more easy to distill, but I'm still going to stick by the logical argument because anything that you distill out. That's it. You gotta have a what do they call it? The fuck. What do they call the rick house? What do they call the house with the barrels? Anyway, you gotta have a big fucking house for the aging the barrels, or at least some place to age the barrels properly so that they're in the right environment. You could maybe age the barrels in the basement, but I mean, like a barrel of whiskey is a lot of fucking money. So it's like realistically, you can't make champagne, you can't make wine, you can't make most of these things. I mean, maybe a hobby winemaker could make 1 or 2 barrels of a great wine, but I mean, like cannabis is one of those things you can realistically make best quality hash you could find in your entire town. You could find the best quality. You could make the best quality wheat you've ever found in your town. You can make the best quality edibles you've ever had in your town. I have these snickerdoodles that people talk about sometimes for years. There's these medicated snickerdoodles, and you basically can't taste the weed in them. They'll fuck your shit up. A couple 100 milligrams, and they're amazing snickerdoodles. Well, that's something that you can do all day, every day. My snickerdoodles are not, I'm sure, not even the best snickerdoodles probably on this show right now, honestly. They're just the best that my friends have had. But they're definitely better than anything you get at a dispensary or any of the legal channels, Anyway, it's fascinating. I think we don't appreciate it enough how spectacular it is that we can actually, sure, we can grow swaggy larf like this, but we can also basically grow really good weed too. So. Anyway.
The only thing I think I would compare it to myself is when something that's a pleasurable and it's a produce. I think is cooking yourself a gourmet meal. You can make a world-class meal for yourself.
Right.
Exactly. You don't want to go out and spend $200 on a meal, but you could spend $50-$60 on some really like good ingredients to make a really nice fillet with jumbo lump crab meat on top. Point raised blue cheese, all kinds of cool stuff to go along with it. You can do that for yourself. Exactly. So there's not a whole lot of things. You're right. You making the whiskey realistically with something you buy, you're only going to make a bottle's worth at a time. Maybe we distill it out. We're not going to have a bottle-sized barrel. You're going to store it for 10 years, 15 years. I mean, none of that makes any kind of sense at all.
It's too difficult. Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep. No, I agree.
I imagine people that they're really if they're growing mushrooms, grow some really high-end mushrooms. All the culture for that going on, but that's not really something that you go out really and you go out and you kind of like buy at a store or have it's like an experience that's offered commercially to anybody for the most part.
Yep.
So that's a little different.
That's another good example, and I think we need to really appreciate all these little craft hobbies and interests that people have. I talk all the time about Tanasi out in Colorado and how spectacular. I remember it to this day, how spectacular this little tiny blue meanie mushroom he gave me was. It was I can't even believe it was more than a quarter of a gram, third of a gram or something. He just gave it to me on the way back from the Indo Expo. I was out in Colorado and, it's a couple hour flight or whatever. He was like, oh, here's a little mushroom. So I munched it on the flight. It was amazing. Like that fucking little mushroom. It was all blue. Like it was filled with freaking, what do they call them? I was going to say cannabinoids, not cannabinoids, whatever, the alkaloids, whatever, filled with the active juices, we'll call them. That was a wonderful little experience. And it was obviously that good because he was such a freak for mushrooms. He's probably selected his strains because a lot of the different, just like we do, we select our strains, right? The mushroom guys select their strains as well. Mushrooms are just as, if not more variable, I've heard, than cannabis plants. So you can very easily find better phenotypes, worse phenotypes, and you can hold on to those strains, create new spores from them and everything else when they fruit, and then master your growing techniques and everything. Tanasi clearly was doing a bunch of that, if not all of it, to the point that one little tiny mushroom was probably as powerful as a gram of mushrooms or more that I've had before. It was great. Not only that, it was a perfect experience. You know, the high, like he probably selected that particular blue meanie because I've had blue meanies before that weren't that interesting. That was a really fun experience, and just it makes me wonder about all his other mushrooms that he works with. You know, because I know he works with a few different species. How good are all the rest of them, right? Well, probably a lot like we cannabis people. We like to look at that. Abolish Farmer says, I crave the smell of burning hash just as much as smoking it. I feel that.
Oh yeah.
Uh, what a nerdy thing to say, right? So I imagine people like Tanasi have something the same about mushrooms. Like, oh, my favorite part of eating a mushroom is the smell of. I don't even know, you know, like because I'm not in that milieu, I guess. Like I'm sure they have their little thing that basically you can't even
Well, I gotta totally
appreciate
agree
unless
with the
you're in it.
hash thing. 'Cause I
Pardon?
don't I smoke all my pot outside,
Hmm.
but I smoke hash inside.
Do you?
So hash is like incense in my bedroom too. It's like, oh, smoke
Hmm.
hash makes my bedroom smell good and all at the
No,
same
you're right.
time.
It does. Yeah. Uh, it's that kind of, yeah, it takes away a lot of the skunkiness. You know, a lot of the skunkiness from weed doesn't pass through because that's like esters and stuff. So that doesn't pass through the hash. So you get mostly, even if you have a really like acrid, gassy hash, it's still going to kind of smell sweet in the air. Like, yeah, it smells wonderful. You're right. Makes me wonder if in the future when we're actually going to have like legal hash bars, are they going to have that kind of aroma of hash all over? You know, that would be a
You know,
really pleasant experience to walk into, right?
smell it down the street, but oh, follow your nose.
I mean, that's how all the fast food places get you in, right? They're fucking they actually dump a little bit of the aromas out of the I mean, it's not really intentional in most cases. No, it's be garbage. Anyway, folks, hop on. We're still here for a little bit. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to discuss the news. We'll probably still be here for at least another 20, maybe 30 minutes. So, folks, there's plenty of time to hop on here and join us. D Zombie's asking, what's everyone smoking on? I'm smoking on the larfiest white runts that I would feel comfortable smoking on, but at least it's weed. What about you guys? What are you smoking on?
I'm smoking on some Dr. Kananga here. This is
Nice.
real sativa dominant.
Cool.
Does really good for pain. It's basically it's a Palo times Oaxacan times Santa Marta times UK cheese times
That's a
Santa
good
Marta.
mix. That's a good mix. I think I'm gonna flower my Oaxacan Thunderfuck here pretty soon that I got from my friend. It's got this fermented like saltiness. It's kind of I like that
Right.
plant a lot. Abolish Farmer says, correct. My favorite variant is Natalensis compared to Cubensis. The amount you need is a tenth of a penis envy. You really have to be careful. How funny. So you just need like the tiniest little bit of a mushroom. How much do you normally, well, I guess that's a loaded question. How much would you need, let's say, well, how do I even ask the question? How much would you want for a recreational dose, Abolish Farmer? How much would you want, let's say, for a more medicinal dose? Tell us more about the Natalensis. I've heard of it, but I don't think I have I don't think I have any experience with it. Who else in here? J5 says, I've got a Jack Frost kit from Tanasi I really need to get into. Here it comes, DDC Jeff. Yeah, Tanasi's an interesting guy. Definitely has gone more. I haven't talked to him for a couple of years. He's definitely gone more into the mushrooms, though, I think. I'm not even sure if he even grows weed anymore. Yeah, we'll have to reach out to him one of these days. But definitely leaned into the mushrooms. Cheers, Jeff. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, cheers. How you doing?
Yeah.
What's new with you?
Hey, everyone. Joel, how you doing?
What's going on, Doc?
Well, go on, Bread Drawn.
Anything new in the old DGC Jeff world?
I'm dealing with an old dog right now. That's
Oh,
his
yeah.
last days, but
Oh, man.
yeah, things are it's sunny today, so we're out of some cold days. That's really good here in Colorado. And it's nice. Yeah, it's nice today. Some snow on the ground and sun and some clouds in the sky. It's really nice. And yeah, glad my dog can get outside a little bit in some nice weather at least.
Oh,
Yeah, we've
yeah.
all been there with the dog. It's nice that he gets some sunny days for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He stopped eating, and
Mm.
yeah, he fell, lost couldn't stand, like fell down, and he's leg out of it. So yeah, something serious. But he's old. He's 15, so he's Yeah, that's life. Do the best you can, and who knows what's ahead. You know.
Ah, the
Yeah,
sun will
but
feel good on him.
yeah,
It'll
yeah,
be
he likes
nice.
that. Yeah, he gets to go outside, see squirrels again. It's like he just stares and like thinks about like, oh, it's straight. They are a lot like humans.
No,
Dogs are great.
no, they do. They take stock of the world. It's yeah, something else.
And yeah, so that's happening. And let's see what else. Oh, we got some good pot now. That's great. Yeah, some things came in and they're done. So yeah, it's good. Got good smoke now. It's great.
It's good.
And yeah, I'll have to get some more a year ago. I got new Lime River Rose, and I think
Nice,
one of the Black Morganas maybe
sweet.
yours. And yeah, I'll have to get some of Joel's next
Right.
stuff I get. Yeah, 420's coming up, everyone.
Oh yeah.
Right around the
Um,
corner. Springtime too. In
yeah,
a couple of
Yeah, I think
weeks.
we actually change the clocks soon here in a couple
yeah.
weeks.
About just over a week actually. I want to say it's March 9th or
Oh,
something. So
I said just leave the
a
damn
week and a
clocks
half from
alone.
now. Yeah, right.
Just leave them alone. I'm fine with it as is right now, year round. Still
So,
like this.
dude, that's what I've said. Why, at first, well, what I want is daylight savings all year. I don't understand why people want the regular time. I mean, I guess in Arizona it makes more sense, but for me, it makes a lot more sense to do daylight savings all year round, so that we get the advantage of the later evenings, but we also, in the wintertime, also get a little bit more sun. To me, it only makes sense to have the earlier time, basically, if you're an early riser. And a lot of our society isn't early risers anymore. Well, plenty of them are, of course, but I don't think they would be I don't think it would be detrimental for them for us to have another hour of sunlight in the afternoon. So that's basically what it comes down to me. Like, I feel like we should have another hour of sunlight in the afternoon all year round instead of changing it.
I like the short. I like as is right now, year round.
Oh.
It freaking gets dark at like 10 o'clock at night here in this middle in the middle in summertime. It's so
See, that would
fucking
be
late,
annoying. Yeah, that would be annoying.
and I go to bed at like 9. So I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like laying in
There you
bed,
go.
the sun's still.
See, that's the
I'm
thing.
up, I'm
People
up
who
at
like
5
early
o'clock.
rising, they like it the other way for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm up at 5 o'clock regardless of
Yeah.
the sun
Oh,
out all the
really?
time.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I've
earlier,
never
four
been an early
thirty-five
riser.
usually. Yeah,
Hmm.
but 5 o'clock, there's no way I can never sleep past 5. It's like unless I'm up like late. Otherwise, it just
Is that from the long years of doing your light dep, or is it just are you just a morning person?
I always have been.
Huh.
I definitely can't sleep if the sun is out. That's one thing I have a hard time doing.
Huh.
Two, generally, I don't like sleep.
I don't
Give me
either, really. Yeah.
6 hours. I feel like I'm missing out in life when I'm sleeping. So give me
Right.
like 6 hours. I want to
Yeah.
get the hell up. I want to do something. Not to mention, I have a strong drive for coffee. At 5 in the morning, I'm laying in bed and I'm like, oh, you know
It's
what? Nice
coffee
hot cup
time.
of coffee would be so nice right now.
Yeah, I find after harvest too, like I want to get up and start enjoying it.
I know one of my favorite times of the day is actually watching the sunrise too. I love having coffee and watching the skies change color in the morning. My basically where I sit in the morning, have my coffee, it faces the sun, faces towards the east. So I watch the sun come over the mountains. That's like I just really enjoy that.
That is a pretty cool experience. Do you feel like it sets you up for the whole day, or is it, I don't know, is it like a,
It's just appreciation. Like I'm privileged to enjoy another sunrise. It's just it's almost like a miracle that happens every day. Just think about
they say
think
that,
about millennia ago, people were the sun's falling out of the sky and it comes back every day. Like it was like a miracle happened. It's just
right.
it's obviously with
Where do
science
they
we know
take the
much
sun at
different.
night?
It's still just a miraculous thing when you think of the universe in a whole, that we're in this little speck spinning around another speck in the middle of nothing, and it's
Yep.
every morning here it comes like clockwork. We see the sun come around and we come around, spin around, and
Yep. No, it's a gigantic dead universe. It might be filled with life, but as far as we know, it's dead. And this is the only planet we know has life. That's a pretty amazing thing. I hear people talk all the time about, oh, humanity's awful, da 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 da. You get the wrong message from all our mistakes. Like, humanity's made a lot of mistakes, but as far as we know, we are the only sentient beings in the universe. There's probably other ones, but we may
probably
never
other.
discover them because the universe is so fucking unfathomably big. So as far as we can tell, we're the only ones.
You think about how big it is and how cataclysmic things can be, with stars exploding and a whole kind of craziness. Like it's a fragile shit out here. Something can happen where we have no control whatsoever. So you know what? Your whole planet's going to be fucking wiped out at some point, and nothing you can do about it. So
there's things called magnetars.
If we don't figure out a way to like escape our planet, we're doomed at some point, regardless. So
there's things like magnetars that are basically, you could think of as like a pulsar that basically shoots out radio waves, but these magnetars basically send out essentially high beam magnet frequencies, basically, that irradiate entire, like they could irradiate a planet that's a few light years away just by accidentally sweeping by it. Like the universe is an incredibly hostile place. Supernovas, fucking black holes, you name it, asteroids that hit you in the face. I mean, you name it. The dinosaurs got attacked by like 3 different asteroids. What's that, D?
I said, what's that about your mama?
That's right, exactly.
Talk about black
Asteroids
holes.
even fatter than your mama, if you can believe it. The universe is an incredibly hostile place. You can look at how hostile it is by looking at the moon, actually. All those fucking scars on the moon, that's from shit hitting it, basically. And that's not good. All those shits hitting it basically create a gigantic fucking explosion. Not explosions, really, so to say, but I mean like explosions of dust and shrapnel and everything else. It would have killed anything that was anywhere near it. So you can visualize if those rocks hit us, we would be super fucked. So the universe is an incredibly hostile place.
Basically, I'm thankful for every day when I think of that whole grand scheme, and the fact that, you know, as much as we think we know, there's probably so much we don't know.
Oh yeah,
that,
unfathomably
you know,
so. Yeah.
The fucking sun all of a sudden could just literally split in two and explode over tomorrow morning. We would have no, because something we have no idea about is actually happening. We have no idea it's happening.
Damn it,
and it's going on. It's just like that could happen all of a sudden. There goes existence. Boom. So much as we think we know about something, sure, there's so much we don't know that it would boggle our minds beyond belief. What's going on in the universe for real?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we still don't know much of much, honestly. We still, like, for example, nuclear power is still basically using a nuclear reactor to boil water. So we don't like harness the energy from the nuclear reactor, really. We're just using the heat to boil water like we've been doing for fucking hundreds of years, you know? Burn something and make the water hot, and then you get power from it. That's our nuclear reactors, basically. So like a nuclear submarine is basically a hot water boiler, essentially. Kind of ridiculous. So like we're barely getting started with that kind of stuff. What was it? Oh, people talk about the expansion of the universe, this really bizarre situation where not only is the universe expanding seemingly, but it is seeming to accelerate in expansion. Makes no absolute sense whatsoever. Well, there was a new theory posited the other day. It's just one other theory. It's going to be hard to test because it's a fucking gigantic universe, but that basically we've misunderstood dark matter. I think in this case it was dark matter because there's both dark energy that they don't quite understand and also dark matter. But the dark matter is the presumed reason why we're essentially accelerating outwards. The new theory basically is that we've misunderstood the, how do you call this? I guess you could say the differential between the places where there is stuff like galaxies and so on and the voids in between them, because the universe actually is not like a clam chowder where everything is basically all, you know, buoyantly even. There's places where there's a shitload of stuff and there's places where there's literally not a fucking thing, or basically not a fucking thing. Well, it turns out that places where there is stuff, at least according to this theory, according to Einsteinian relativism and everything else, time passes at a different rate than it does in a vacuum, for example. Time passes at a different rate around great mass, so around a black hole, versus in a gigantic vacuum. And so long story short, we could literally have, and these are voids that are in some cases millions or even billions of light years across, we could have time differentials of millions or billions of years in the cosmos where there is stars and shit around these voids. And for example, inside the voids, the time could be passing at a radically different time. So this could explain some of our weird expansionism in our universe. Anyway, I'm probably explaining this terribly, but it just basically goes to show how little we fucking understand. I mean, 200, 300 years from now, what are our theories going to be about the nature of the universe? I'm fascinated to, I wish we knew, you know, wouldn't that be nice if a time traveler could be like, oh, you guys are gonna be excited. It's gonna be great. Probably couldn't tell us what
that's
it was,
right. Yeah, that's all true. And the antimatter particles are also missing. We don't know where they are. Should be an equal number as the particles that we do see. the regular
That's
matter.
right. Where basically the universe is filled with matter particles and no antimatter particles, but in theory they should both
They should
pop
be
into
equal.
existence in equal numbers. I've heard that
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
They still pop into existence and annihilate all the time, just in empty space.
Mm,
I think Hardcore talked about that energy in empty space
mm.
in the vacuum, and just particles are constantly being created, and then they usually tend to attract each other, and then so just annihilate right away too.
Hmm.
But
I
yeah,
like that
just an
bad
empty
exo.
and you could see that just from like induction charging, that electromagnetic waves are just in the air and you can get energy from them. So just that's how like empty space has energy where these particles come from
Hmm.
in the vacuum. You call
Nice
So
thing we
yeah,
have
so
weed to have
them.
these conversations.
Yeah.
Although mushrooms be fun too. Although except on mushrooms, I feel like the conversations you have with people just become nonsense. I feel like with weed, you can still actually have intelligent, although hilarious conversations. But with mushrooms, I feel like people just kind of
I'd like to see a conversation with
Scooby-Doo.
like Einstein and Tesla smoking a joint together.
Seriously,
Like,
that would have been
like
spectacular.
could AI produce that? Like, give us a real what would Einstein and Tesla talk about if they're
Or
smoking a joint
fucking
together
Niels
and they're
Bohr or
trying to
somebody.
imagine a
Yeah,
world?
100%. I'd just like to see Einstein smoking a big fucking doobie and talking. Bro, you guys don't even know.
Or we add some more modern day like Hawkins and Sagan, add them in
Yeah.
with the mix or something to get different perspective on things.
Yeah, yeah. Especially since probably what would come out of their mouths would be super funny and dirty. Because Einstein, for example, like everyone thinks he was this really nice grandpa, but he was apparently a pretty lecherous ladies man, actually. And like women really liked him because he was a Nobel Prize winner and everything. So he would probably be pretty hilarious, honestly. Laser Lips. Stop talking about your mama like that. What's up, martial artist? Good to see you. Who else in the chat here? Folks, hop on. We're just hanging here for a little bit longer. Lovely to see Jeff on here, but we'd love to see a couple more of you. Come show off your garden, folks. I mean, shit, North Star's here. Come, tell him what you got from him, or tell him what you'd like to work on. Ask questions, folks.
Yeah.
Show off your garden just for giggles, whatever. We'd love to hear
I
from you
know.
folks. We're normally here for about another half hour. We don't have to be here the entire half hour, but we're normally here for about another half hour.
I know some of you guys out
maybe.
there have some of North Star's genetics going right
I
now.
bet. I
I
bet.
know you are.
Right?
Got you growing.
Yeah, folks, hop on. I know several of you folks have talked about mine. North Star, I'm sure Green Fingers, a few of you guys are growing his gear, so hop on up. Show the gear off. Ask a question if something's going on.
I was online talking about where getting ready for the season. I was trying to figure out who already has who started seeds already. Like they started seeds and they're going to go ahead and make a selection. Whether they're going to maybe do a small run indoor with them and make clone selections, or they're just going to groom out a nice big monstrous plant outside.
Mm-hmm.
This time of year, definitely to get that ball should be rolling already, pretty much.
It absolutely is. I've never done it before, so I'm gonna try it. I think I'm gonna do it with a couple, maybe 3 plants. I'm gonna try to do an outdoor run in the spring, basically May and June. But I don't have a greenhouse, and it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to invest in a greenhouse here. I've thought about it, so I'm not 100% sure I won't, but I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna do it greenhouse wise. So my idea is I have a little staging room in my garage, so I thought I could literally and there's the back door there. I could just literally take those plants in and out essentially every day, which is going to be a huge pain in the ass, but I'm thinking about doing it, right? But my real outdoor season doesn't start, of course, until summer, right? So, but even for that, realistically, if I want to have nice big plants, you nailed it. You should be starting now. You know what I mean? Even if it's clones, you don't have all that long, because I would basically probably try to put them in the ground. I would try to put them in the ground in May, but realistically, I'd put them in the ground in probably like June, maybe even July if it's still fucking cold, because sometimes in Oregon lately it's still freezing weather basically up until basically last year. I think it was right until the end of June that we still had some frosty mornings. cannabis plants could probably live through that, but you don't necessarily want to stress the plants out. So a lot of Oregonians don't even put them out until like June, July. So, and they put lights on them and stuff to keep them in flower. Anyway, long story short, that's really not that many months from now. So if you want a big fucking plant, like what is that guy, Jay Plant Speaker or whatever in Eastern Oregon, I want to say, he probably starts vegging his plants in January, I would imagine, because when he puts them outdoors into the 1,000-gallon pots. He usually grows 12 plants because the freaking the police around him are like, you're only gonna grow 12. Yeah, they raided him a few years ago. It's fucking nuts. Anyway, so he puts them out, I want to say when they're about 5 feet tall. So actually you don't really have to veg for like 3 months. You could probably
Nice.
veg those for a couple months maybe and get them that tall. But yeah, anyway, he puts them out when they're about 5 feet tall, and then they get to be like, God, I don't even remember, maybe
I
15
start
feet
about
tall or
now.
something. What's that, D?
Well, being in Canada here, I start about now.
Huh.
Because because they'll get big enough. They'll get like maybe they'll be like that by the time I put them outside. I get them ready for May 2-4. That's when Canada usually puts their plants out. Because that means no more frost.
Well, that's cool.
That's cool. Yeah, you put them right in the ground.
And yeah, and I got garbage pails as well.
Uh-huh.
This
What
year
is
though,
it?
I'm gonna be starting soon my poppies though.
Nice.
I'm gonna be growing some poppies this year.
Do your poppies overwinter, or because I guess it
Yeah.
depends on the poppies, but we had orange poppies that they kind of take over. They're not super aggressive, but they kind of take over and they just plant themselves year after year. What
My
about yours?
my cousin's more of the poppy guy. He grows like it looks like Flanders Fields at his house,
Hmm.
man. He buys poppy seeds by the kilo
Hmm.
in the mail and shit.
That's cool.
But he starts usually around what is it, first frost. He'll lay a whole bunch out for next year. But I also do them indoor. You can also do them indoors. That's what I'm going to be doing.
It's honestly a
Like
shame that poppies have such a negative connotation because they're some of the most beautiful fucking flowers, and they really take over well. You don't have to do all that much to them. It's just so gorgeous. And they have a nice long season. Like tulips only last for a few weeks, really, per flower. Poppies sometimes you'll get for the whole season. My goodness, I wish they were less. Yeah, it's dumb, isn't it? I mean, the only way. First of all, most people don't know how to make fucking opium anyway. You'll see it from time to time if you see like Asian people's house. If there's like an old grandpa, sometimes you'll see the poppies and you'll see what they're doing. But it's yeah. I mean, the fuck, nobody does that.
Well, I always thought they were different poppies, but yeah, those are
Hmm.
the ones. Huh.
Yeah, there's
these are the
opium poppies
ones.
and stuff, and there's a
There's
bunch.
ones that look like Danish. They're called Danish flag poppies, and they actually look like a Danish flag.
Uh-huh.
I want
Dunbro.
to say the poppy is a very big family of flowers, actually.
Yeah,
Isn't it? Yeah.
lots of different varieties of them.
And I
But
think on every
those are the ones.
continent, it was one of the early developing flowers, I think. Yeah.
The picture I showed you guys is the ones that I usually grow.
Cool.
They're called Tasmanians. So I like the purple splash on them.
Oh.
It's like a
It,
paintbrush
it
one.
would, I don't know. I guess I'm going to say something controversial. I know it's controversial, but I'm saying it in the spirit of discussion, I guess is what I'm going to say. Because it's not like I grow opium poppies or something. But I guess what I was going to say is I wish we didn't have such a culture of what do we call it? Drug prohibition, right? And I'm speaking to the choir, right? Nobody's. Oh yeah, Fumero, you just said something incredibly new to me. No, but I wish we didn't have this incredible culture of prohibition because it spreads in the stupidest possible ways. And I feel like, for example, with this, uh, I mentioned old Asian families, Chinese families sometimes, oftentimes will grow a little bit of opium poppies, and they will collect a little bit of the sap basically for pain relief. Every once in a while, you'll get some grandpa who's an opium addict, but generally speaking, you wouldn't be able to grow enough opium to sustain yourself at your fucking backyard. But basically, what it is a normal culture of kind of indigenous pain relief, I guess you could say, kind of like people who chew coca leaves in South America. I've heard that it's essentially not intoxicating. I've never had a chance to chew on a coca leaf, but it's not intoxicating. It just gives you a little bit of a zip or a pep, basically, kind of like
Yeah.
a caffeinated drink. I have to take people's word for it. I don't know. So there's no real reason why that should be banned, for example, in the US. It might be something that might be beneficial to people because I've heard it is
Yeah.
stress relieving and so on and so forth. It helps people with altitude sickness. Imagine if an airline could basically serve your fucking peanuts and soda or whatever with a little freaking coca leaf so you could chew on it and not be anxious. How many people are anxious? I've never been anxious in a plane, but other people I've been with red knuckling the fucking thing, you know. I would imagine that first of all, a joint would help. Ms. Diaz, it's common. It's really common, actually, honestly. Gosh, I've known people who were terrified, petrified, and no matter, I would have to sit there the whole trip telling them it's the safest. It was annoying. It was infuriating. I started to get fucking agitated because all the stuff I'm saying, I'm like, this is ridiculous. I had to come up with all these facts. It's the safest mode of travel. There's only so many plane accidents a year. Da, 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 da. Anyway, so long story short, it's this culture of incredible universal prohibition. Drugs are bad, okay? That basically doesn't even allow us to discuss the possibility, realistically. I mean, because obviously it's absurd what I just said. Oh, wouldn't it be nice if we had coca leaves to chew on a plane?
Exactly. And what happens
universe is that going to happen? Yeah.
What happens is the person who gets nervous flying goes to the doctor, gets prescribed Xanax for flying or something,
which is
has
worse.
2 or 3 drinks on the plane while they're driving. So now they're totally blitzed because they had a Xanax and a couple drinks on the flight. They land. Now they have to get a rental car, possibly, and go drive somewhere after. Now they're just totally fucked. It's not a good idea.
Get the wheelchair ready. Right at the other end. Push them to the airport.
And you wonder why you having all these fights on planes and stuff, because they're you know, people are getting drunk before they get on the plane because they're nervous for flying. So you have a bunch of people that are getting all tuned up before they get thrown into a little box together.
Yeah, it's an unnatural circumstance that we exacerbate with, what's that?
Everyone could smoke a joint before they got in the plane. It would be a lot nicer of a flight.
100% it would be. If they would hotbox the oh my God, that would be fucking hilarious. If there was an airline that hotboxed every fucking plane.
Where is it? Where's that?
Seriously, the states were legal like California because they had a spot where they have like
please apply your mask.
420 lounge where they have like extra ventilation so people can go in there and smoke a joint before they fly. That'd be a great idea.
Nice, D.
Yeah, so I know some old people or
Hi,
old
the
person
friendly skies.
that you know, it's thinking like, oh, he's have to go into a home or something, someplace, but you know, he smokes all the time. So I was thinking like, oh, a great TV series would be some home like in Colorado or something where they allow smoking and it's just filled with hippies. You know, you can go some like get deadheads in there, and you know, I mean, you can come up with some good episodes probably. But that'd be a great thing though too. When you get old, that's like, you know, never mind just going in a home for every other reason. But if you have to give up that, you know, maybe you can go outside and do it, but you can't smoke in your room at a old age facility.
Places, but place out cheap from it. You can have edibles. They let you have edibles, and you can go out on the porch and smoke a joint if you wanted to.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've heard places where you can go outside. A place that was known with old hippies, I thought. Get a good series.
God, those homes are nuts, though, dude.
Have a vaporizer in your room, maybe though.
This guy's a hippie, you know, deadhead hippie. So yeah.
Those homes
and
vegetarian
and vegetarian too. So you know, yeah, you'd have that group and.
I was gonna say those freaking homes cost a fucking fortune and a half. $8,000-9,000. A woman I used to know's grandma moved out of the home basically and moved it back in with her kids and lives in like their grandma apartment, whatever, and rents from them actually because the fucking home was charging $6,000 a month or something, and she would have to walk down the stairs. This is like she's 99 now. This is a 98-year-old at the time woman. She had to walk down the stairs, 2 flights of stairs, I think, because I guess it didn't have an elevator. And if she didn't walk down the stairs to go to lunch or dinner or whatever, they would charge her $20 to deliver the food up those 2 stairs.
Wow.
So yeah, she left because she was like, they're just fucking nickel and diming me every single possible. You're already spending $6,000 for this place. It should be luxurious for that money. No, it's basically just a room apparently, and then you also can't even get food. No, it's crazy. And in the meantime, it's not like they're paying the home health aides well. Like famously, that's the lowest paid profession of all professions, basically. Anything home health related. So all the care staff and whatever. Famously, there was a care home that went out of business because the private equity company, it was like in Ohio or whatever, it went out of business. This is a few years ago. Went out of business, and they basically closed up all their places without really telling anybody. And there were three orderlies basically that were left. All the doctors and everything just left because they got the call, but the orderlies didn't get the call. So the orderlies took care of the people at the home for like a week or something before they could call the police and stuff and get these people taken care of. They just got abandoned basically. Oh, and they didn't get paid. Those orderlies didn't even get paid. So yeah, home health aides, they fuck with both sides of the stick. Uh, Martial artist says, I love herbalism and poppy conversation came because friend was growing some. I wondered if tincture or poppy tea might be a way to utilize, but I gathered that it's easy to develop an addiction with those. See, that's where the kind of controversial part comes in, and I don't know the answer to that. I have heard both sides. I've heard that a poppy tea is not addictive, but I heard that it is basically a path towards, for example, if you used to be a heroin addict or anything, it's a bad path. So I don't really know too much more than that. I think probably someone like Smash could probably give us more insight on that. But that's part of the reason. I mean, it's so infuriating that we can't even really convincingly talk about these things because it already broaches on people's ick factor. You know what I mean? Whereas it would be normal if we could talk about this stuff. Hey, you got joint pain or something? Why not try a poppy tea? Maybe it's useful. I don't even know. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying that you should go out and try it, but we can't even really convincingly talk about this stuff because of the long-standing prohibitions.
It's,
And everything was treated as bad as everything else. A gram of fucking weed was just as bad as 10 pounds of weed, right? Like Bud got in trouble for some seeds in his fucking car one time. I guess we haven't seen him for a while. Ian, who used to be on the show, or used to be a regular in the chat, he got arrested for thrown 9 months or something. He was in fucking jail for a fucking joint, I think it was.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god, dude, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he said that. That was a couple, 3 years ago. We were talking about it. Anyway,
No.
I think one of the shows it was like, oh, crazy offenses. We were talking about that, and then Bud brought up how he was uh, uh, literally hemmed up. Oh, he was hemmed up for both seeds and hash, and the hash was the one that I think he got thrown away for a while for. And the hash was literally the resin in his fucking pipe. They
Oh,
were saying
Jesus.
that
Oh,
he
yeah.
was distributing hashish. He was
Oh,
distributing
yeah.
fucking concentrates.
And,
And it
and the
was
guy
literally some
scraped,
fucking resin in his weed pipe, by the way, not even a hash pipe.
and they scraped it out of the pipe and made it
Yep,
into a little
yep, yep.
concentrate.
47th of a gram or something.
Yeah, they just
Yeah,
wanted
big,
him.
big,
They
big
wanted him
criminal.
to snitch.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're excuse me, rounding up towards the end here. You guys are welcome to hop on for the last few minutes, or of course we can start to wind down. Any exciting, speaking of you, North Star, any exciting plans? I mean, you've been talking about firing up the greenhouses again. Any exciting,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some new plastic for one greenhouse that it gave out this winter, so tear that all down, replace that. But I think that's gonna be I'll start with a seed run in there. Actually, I want to take all my bigger moms indoors that I have smaller replacements for right now and everything, and move them out, plant them out. So I have a nice start with some 2-foot mom plants, stick them out in the greenhouse, and then I have a Martian mean green times super silver haze that I got as
That was fun.
as a tester plant from DNA Genetics at the 2005 Cup.
Oh, wow.
I want to use that male and hit up a greenhouse full of ladies.
That sounds like a fun
Different
cross.
stuff to play with.
Yeah.
So I think I might kick the season off with that, and then get the other
You're making
greenhouses
me want a
all
greenhouse.
straightened up and ready. Get more. I have some moms in there now. I'm cutting clones, but I don't have enough clones to get a greenhouse loaded yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and get them other ones all straightened up, cleaned up real good. Get my dehumidifiers wiped down inside and out, whatnot, and cut more clones. And hopefully, say in about 3 weeks or so, 4 weeks, I'll be able to get one of the greenhouses planted out.
You just remind me of another one of my annoyances. Now I'm gonna have to get another dehumidifier basically because I have to grow in two places in my house. Because I don't know if you heard this because you haven't been on the show for a couple weeks. So my panel is overloaded. I thought basically that I was going to be able to add an accessory panel, but unfortunately I can't. My panel is literally full because I got a heat pump and this and that, washer and dryer. And the previous owner basically wired things kind of foolishly, so he could have chosen a little bit better. Well, so instead of basically having a chance to really redo it, I'd have to basically get a new panel. So realistically, I'm just not going to do that. So I have to essentially figure out like, okay, I'm going to go over here and over here. So anyway, like I
What
can't
size
just
panel
keep
you got
everything.
now? 200?
100, I think. I don't remember
100?
honestly. It's not enough to be honest.
Okay.
In fact, I think it's 100. Yeah. So it would cost. Oh, I don't even remember. Had kind of a friend of a friend, retired electrician, come out here, and he was, that's not the God's honest truth necessarily, but it was an estimate of around $6,000 or $7,000. I'm like, no. And that's without tracing back to everything. Like it's going to be more than that. So long story short, I'm having to find another way. What was I going to say? Veg is over there, for example, and the dehumidifier. Now I'm going to have to buy another dehumidifier because I basically have at the moment my one 4x4 tent over there set up. Fuck off. And it's too much complication too. Like I got to water over there, and now I got to water over there, and then during the summer I'm going to have to water outside. Fuck off. Anyway. But at least I get to grow weed, right? That's the bright side of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You're making me want a greenhouse, though. I've always been tempted, but I don't know. It's so much work. I don't know.
Well,
We'll
for
think
me,
about
I
it.
love it because basically when we get in the summertime here, I get some warm weather, so my indoor is to the minimal. I have just basically some moms, so I have clone stuff for my greenhouses. I don't do any kind of flowering or anything out indoors through the summertime. It's just less plants going, it's less humidity from my dehumidifiers, and less heat being generated from my air conditioners to work on. And this year, like I said, I had grew too much last year, so I'm not even worried about having so much. So I'm probably going to do the one early run, and I'll do some seed runs. So I'm not even going to have to really have much of a light system going for moms down there. Just I'll have a few of my moms that I'm hanging on to. I'm really trying to get my room emptied out because I want to remodel the building down there. I have a whole other what's a 1-bedroom house right now. It's only being about a third used as a veg room. And the other rest of it has got some tents in it for flowering that I'm going to wrap them up and hopefully break everything down and give the place a good cleanup and a remodel kind of job and try to downsize my veg room from being built into the room and try to get that into a tent or two just to make it more mobile because we're trying to maybe get out of California here next couple of years. So I want to be a little more mobile and agile when I do that. So.
Listen to this. Bud's mom was in a 15K home up in Vancouver, although it might be a care home because she has Alzheimer's, but still 15,000 a month. Fuck off with a vengeance. My God, a year of that is how I don't even want to count. I don't even want to count anymore. I've
we
lost
need to look
interest.
into right
Oh my
now.
God.
We need to try to find out what zoning is in your area is conducive to that, and buy a property and see what does it take. What costs so much for that?
Oh my God, it's incredible.
Get that going.
Bud says only 13K overlooking the ocean in Encinitas. Well, that's a no-brainer. Holy shit. Save 2,000 and she gets an ocean view. God help us all. That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Yeah, they really charge for those homes. It's really something else. I've never really stopped to look at the where the money goes, I guess, because it doesn't go to the employees. It doesn't go to the real estate. Real estate is historically no more than it was. In fact, they probably have been getting breaks over time because a lot of those buildings are owned long term and everything else. I'm sure they get all kinds of incentives. So it can't be the real estate. That's basically a big part of it. Again, we established it's not the employees. They don't really have that much hospital staff, so it's not that. It's not like they're paying multiple $1 million for a half a dozen doctors or something. Where is the money going in those fucking homes? I think it's going straight out of money funnel, basically, to whoever owns those places. I don't know. I've never really looked into it. Anyway, crazy.
Well, I know insurance has got to be high.
Pardon?
I know the insurance has got to be really high for something like that.
I mean, that's fair. A doctor friend of mine says that basically about a third of her salary essentially goes to malpractice. So that's fair. So for example, if you've got the 15K, if we're going to say insurance is super high, that could be 5,000 of the monthly. So you got 10,000 remaining. There's still quite a bit left though.
I think the real estate depends on where you're at. I know, like right
I
here,
suppose.
buy a lot that you could do that with, you're probably going to be in for $1 million, $1.5 million at least. And then depending on the building itself, out here, you're pretty much $400 a square foot to get shit built out here or more anymore. I don't know what your conditions are going to be with the ADA compliant for everything, so you don't get sued by everybody. So you have old people in there, so the extra building expenses you're going to have to go through. But still, at those numbers, if you're basically like buying, say you're buying like a 4-bedroom house and you're going to put on like a 9-10 bedroom addition, so you might put on another $800,000 additional into the back of it or something. At numbers where you're going to be charging those other, say, 10 more rooms you're adding, if each room's bringing you $8,000 a month,
Yeah,
that starts adding up really quickly. So even if half of that's going to expenses, you're still kind of racking it up pretty quick to where any
that's
major
where I'm starting to think. I don't know. I used to know
for like 4 or 5 years, and after that, then it's a straight
Crazy.
positive cash flow.
100%. And I've known a couple people over the years that had some version of a care home. A neighbor of mine down in California, her family basically owned a care home for old folks, I guess, disabled and old folks on off of Fairfax or something. Anyway, it wasn't a big facility, and they were minting money basically. She was
Yeah.
quite explicit about how they were minting money. Same thing, a Romanian family up here in Oregon. I knew the kid, well, I guess back in college, and his family essentially were minting money. Basically, how you described, they had a private house that they essentially kept adding additions to in the back, where they put people, and they were just racking in the money. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and swear that it's a scam. Maybe they're the most honest people ever, but seems like a crazy amount of money. I don't know. I can tell you. Bud Kilowatt says that's average for that care, and they basically keep the medicated and alive because they still have money. You know.
Yeah.
Yep, I've heard that too.
Yeah, old people have a lot of money to spend.
Not all old people,
Definitely.
plenty
Not
don't.
all people, but yeah.
And the new administration is talking about cutting a lot of different stuff, so that may change quickly too. But there are a lot of old people that get milked for all the cash they're worth, and it's really a shame.
Yeah. But it's a lot you get monthly checks coming in, and
Yep. Yeah, my mom got ripped off by multiple people. And unfortunately, it's a very common thing that old people start to either become less savvy to how all the scams are, because I guess that's just normal. You can't be up on everything that's changing at all times. And they also somewhat become more, I don't know, trusting or something. So it's very common for them to get basically ripped off. Good old friend of mine who passed away, lifelong professor, this and that. I mean, sharp as a knife, you know what I mean? Got ripped off for $10K for a shitty roof that his son, when he passed away, ended up having to completely replace again because the whole inside of the house molded. Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it was a disaster. Anyway, they actually did do the roof though. That was the funny part of the scam. We thought they were just going to run off with the money. They arguably fucked him more because they put a shitty roof on. So it would have been better if they just left with the fucking money. He would have gotten a better roofer. But that's the breaks in life sometimes. Yeah, my mom got ripped off multiple times. Yeah. Ugh. Crazy shit. What can I tell you? Life is a hell of a thing to do, a person, they say. Bud Kilowatt says when you call a place when you call place when on hold, they play this recording that makes it sound like a resort. I know, right? And they always name them like
Shady
Geriatric Pines or some shit. I don't even know. It's always some resort villa.
1 minute warning.
Yeah. Oh, right on. We're almost done, ladies and gentlemen. We might wrap it up here in a second. It's not like we dislike you or something. It's just we all have things to do, I think. As we wrap up, boys and girls, do I have anything left on my joint? I don't. I smoked the rest of it. Dang it, I'm gonna have to roll another one. I have a tiny bit of weed. Any final thoughts? Any
No, never mind.
whatever, boys and girls, go for it.
Yeah. Getting near the end of the month, head on geneticsupply.com. Use the code LOVE. Save 10% and a bonus 10-pack
Nice.
on top of it. All North Star seeds are buy two, get one, as are the Canazotic Gooey Breeder seeds. They're buy two, get one. I got seeds from Croatoan Seeds. I'm not sure exactly what they're about. I know it's all autoflower, feminized CBD stuff.
Nice.
And they're only $15.
The explosion of Croatoa was
Yeah.
supposedly the loudest sound we know of. Apparently, the shockwave echoed around the earth like 15 times for like 3 days. Supposedly, it was that fucking loud. So it's a funny name. He's saying that his weed is
Nice.
loud as fuck, basically.
I guess so. We'll find out hopefully. Yeah, so jump on it in a month. Also, we have my raffle going on. So I have two basically like stainless steel coffee tumblers. Each one's
That's
going to be
cool.
filled with a load of seeds. In total, over $1,800 in seed stock going to be given out. Every $25 spent in the site gets you a raffle ticket. And I'll draw 2 tickets for 2 winners. So. Have fun with that.
No, I think that's a fun name. We should try to figure out who Croatoa or Kratoa, however you say that, Seeds is, because I think he's clearly trying to say his weed is loud as fuck. So I think this is a guy that loves puns and humor. We'll see.
Well, back in the seeds pack were fairly interesting. Instead of having like what his name, what it was, and so forth, it was just basically just the 2 parents with the cross, and then info for each of the parents. Like the whole flowering schedule for the mom, yada 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 yada, and then the whole flowering schedule for the pollen donor, yada yada yada. The days of flower, indica sativa, all that kind of.
He's sending a message that the weed speaks for itself. It's a heck of a message.
That was interesting. So you go ahead and you grow it out, and you say, all right, it's leaning towards the mom or leaning towards the dad. If you don't know, if you're not familiar with the parents, it kind of gives you a little bit of background before you plant the seeds on what each of the parents is bringing to the game, I guess.
Mm-hmm. No, I like it, especially with the crazy egotism of many seed breeders. It's fun to just focus on the weed.
Where the stock comes from. Both use both male, whoever it came from, he gives credit to each person where it comes from too.
Hammer.
That's cool. Right on.
So it's very transparent, straightforward with it in the back of the pack. I like that.
I dig it. Yeah, I dig it. Right on. Cheers. Jeff, what about you, buddy? Any final thoughts or?
No, just thanks everyone. Thanks for hosting.
Mercy buckets.
Gonna hop on, talk to some people, and I'll get back to my dog.
Yeah.
Best
vibes to you, buddy, and best vibes to your dog. That's I don't know. There's no way to make that easier, but at least it's an important thing to. I don't know. It's part of life. What can you do?
Yeah.
So cheers, man.
Just do the best we can.
Yeah.
All right.
One guarantee you have in life.
Yeah. Cheers,
Jeff.
Good life. Good to see you, buddy.
Best you can hope for.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
That's success.
Cheers. Okay. Later, dude. Go for it, D.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for all you lurkers and non-lurkers in the chat. 33 people watching today. Right on. That might be a new record. I'd have to check the record.
We've had more, but it's a good one for the latest shows. Yeah. Absolutely.
Don't forget, everybody, to tune in Saturday, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock Pacific for on the Fumadoro channel, the second channel, for the Saturday Takeover hosted by me. Before that, though, don't forget to check out my channel, DZombie_745 for the pre-show. That starts at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Right on.
6 o'clock Pacific. Hope everyone has a great rest of the week. Later, everybody.
Cheers, D. Later, buddy.
Thanks.
Northstar, did you have a chance to say goodbye? Go for it, buddy.
Yeah. Hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their week. I hope everyone wakes up to a nice, beautiful sunrise tomorrow.
That's it. Yeah, that's nice thoughts.
Thanks for having me, everyone.
Cheers.
Thanks
Welcome.
for the show. Good time. Great conversation as usual.
Yeah, man. Cheers. Good to see you. Later. Ladies and gerbils, that leaves the rest of us. Thanks very much for joining us, even though I have a teeny little joint. Don't judge me. Thanks, Joseph Anthony, martial artist. Nice one. Joseph Anthony Jones and Grow, Bud Kilowatt. Always a pleasure to see you, buddy. Who else? Martial artist. J5. Dankabiskai. Good to see you as well. Ladies and gerbils, whoever I missed, hopefully we'll see each other soon. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. I know I keep saying it, but I'm going to bring the website back very shortly here. Hopefully this week. We'll see. But I want to not over promise and under deliver. You know what I mean? I'd rather over deliver and under promise or something, which is the way your mom likes it too. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if that makes sense, but at least it was funny in my head.
Yeah, it does.
Ladies and gerbils, don't forget, of course, to be kind, be decent, be gentle, don't be fucking pricks, dicks, or lunatics. Do, by the way, catch the Tuesday show. So sometimes I forget to promote my own shows, right? So not only Dee's Saturday show, but also the Tuesday show on the big channel, ladies and gentlemen. That's Fumidor and the Flavors. If you haven't watched it before, please do join us on that channel. Hopefully, in the very near future, I'll be providing more content on that channel. Presumably, on that channel, some recorded content talking about my garden, my grow and stuff. I know you guys have been asking for that kind of stuff for a long time, so I hopefully will be able to provide that in the near future here, unless, I don't know, something else goes wrong, right? My life has had kind of, one thing after another. So presumably you guys are going to be able to see my garden, my grow, and see how I've been talking about my gardening system, so you'll actually be able to see it in action, and hopefully, honestly, seeing things from seed all the way through finishing. So anyway, hopefully all that stuff is coming. But again, ladies and gentlemen, go look at Fumidor and the Flavors and subscribe over there. If you wouldn't mind, please, on the way out of this channel, don't forget, of course, to subscribe to D. But if you could hit the like button, that would be really helpful. Honestly, it's the thumbs up. Of course, if you hated the show, actually, you can hit the thumbs down button twice, really, to make sure that it counts. And then also don't forget to leave a comment by saying that you dislike my face or something, whatever. But if you liked the show, don't forget, of course, you can leave a comment. Perhaps you have some commentary about what we talked about, or you'd like an idea for a future show or a future guest or something. Feel free to leave a comment, but hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed. And be kind, be decent, be gentle, be fucking pricks, dicks, or lunatics. And don't forget to puff something wonderful too. And until we meet again, my friends, later gators and deep fried